This was definitely a very, very interesting episode of The Shadow House from its three parts that we were given, which I divided them into, or they were just made that way, and I just noticed it. From the talk on the roof, from the early rejoice ceremony, into the scene of Sean and John. So, of course, let's start with the first thing. Let's talk about the scene on the roof while the Shadow Master were having their meeting. This was very interesting because we really rarely don't get to see this side of Emilico. You know, how she's always happy and curious, but it seems like she really is taking in all this information in a very certain way, where she's very worried and as if she don't know herself anymore. In the beginning, it was simple, she is who she's supposed to be, a living doll, serving Mistress Kate, and cleaning the Shadow House. And that was it. But as time went on, as she started to discover more and more things about this house, she started to have worries. To the point where she shows a sign, a side to Sean that she didn't even show to Mistress Kate, showing how much she trusts Sean to a very high extent to show her this kind of, vulnerable side to her. And it shows how things aren't what they used to be for her. Things were happy, bright, and nice. But now she looks at the house now, and it's like, it's not that good. It's like a child slowly losing their innocence in a way. Showing how the way the Shadow House wants the children to grow up to the way Emilico is actually growing up. Instead of being another number or a clog in the machine, she's outside seeing what's going on, and she's growing up a different way. Instead of growing up, the droid that just follows orders and do things, she's like, oh no, I'm an independent free thinker, but it scares her in a way. But things calm down thanks to Sean as they talk about what their lives could be outside, whether they could be from noble families to the jobs they used to do, and were they really happy in the village they lived in. Then, of course, they even discuss things about how the connection between humans and the Shadow Masters work. The Shadow Master's always been there, and the children just shows up. So, and the shadows seem to be empty. You can use Lou and Ram, Brum, and Shirley as a good example. They were not that very compatible. In fact, Shirley never said anything, and it's probably because Rum never gave her a goodnight kiss. It seems like it was an order from all the dolls to give their masters a goodnight kiss before they go to bed. And it probably was that interaction that causes the shadows to develop into their own personalities as time goes on. So, as it starts out with the shadows being empty and the humans being full, when the coffee and the ceremony happens, it starts out as the shadow being full and the human becoming empty, a doll that's just obedient and just no emotions in their own free thought, in a way. So, and I guess as time goes on, these children become Edward, in a way, who's a full-fledged adult, in a way, the adult that the Shadow House wants them to become, as they absorb, I bet, the the human doll in order to become a perfect living entity in a way. So they're discussing these things and saying that's probably it. But they believe even the veiled dolls look like they're from a funeral are probably living dolls themselves. And she probably Rum among these dolls, I'm trying to say, is Rum is probably there somewhere. She hasn't fully kicked out just yet. She's probably out there somewhere. So it's a very interesting concept. At the same time, they did see the Shadow Rope figure there, saying that they're not an ally, but they're not an enemy neither. So they have their own goal. They just don't want anyone to cross or interfere with their mission, where that mission may be. Very interesting. Then, even though the Rejoice ceremony was supposed to be 4 days away, it ended up being the next day. So Emilico and Sean had to take the coffee, forcing them to be, actually pretty different. Instead of being the completely obedient and null of emotions that they're supposed to be, just cleaning away, they're very hyped in emotions this time, and to the point where she wasn't even obeying Kate. Because when she first was taken over by the coffee, she thought it was delicious and she was completely obedient and null of emotions. But this time she's heightened of emotions. So something is not right is going on. Is this the actual genuine coffee that's supposed to be giving out the kids? Probably not. And because of that, the Starbears are using a substitution to keep face, keep the status quo, so the other children won't freak out and say, hey, there's a disturbance going on within the line of order here. So that's probably the reason why they're doing that. Very, very interesting. Then we get into the third part of the series, episode. That's with Sean and John going to fix the research club as they not just tore down the door, they tore down the entire front area of the research building, by the way. Just saying that place was not well made if that was the case. And there we get our introduction to Jeremy and Jeremiah. Two very awkward, but yet sophisticated couple of gentlemen, I would say. From them just sitting there watching, to sleeping at weird times of the day, and then waking up and having a nice, fine meal, by the way. Even provoking John to give out his soot so they can collect it for research. All very interesting things this duel do. To the point they even have a very interesting conversation about the scorches, talking about the density, how they're created, and then how they form together, and they go inside of the mouths of people, the living dolls, and take over them like a parasite possesses them. The question is, what do they do when they do possess them? What is the point? Sometimes when a creature possesses people, is to like a symbiote or a parasite where they create more of itself, uses the human body as a hive, as it controls, and then it goes to affect the next person, and so on and so forth. So we don't really know what the Scorchers do when they do possess humans. Well, we just see it try to go somewhere. The question is, what it was trying to go? That was from the first season, as I recall. So a very, very interesting thing that's going on here. They're even using the Scorchers to do their own inventions in a way. Inventions that are run by Scorch power. That they're running on the wheel like a hamster, but they're being motivated. Instead of it's cheese, it's a picture of a living doll's face. So it is obsessed with getting that living doll to jump right in its mouth. I know, sounds weird. So there's all kinds of interesting things about these scorches. But however, they never seen, no matter how much the scorches pile up, they never seen a scorch become a phantom. So the question is where the phantom came from. So the possibility that this phantom was created by a very powerful shadow master. Question is who, which we're all trying to figure out at the end of the season. And of course, speaking of end, that's where Oliver and Ollie shows up to ask John to go meet the Starbearers. But John don't recall doing something of praise for the Starbearers to call him. Ooh, we must be in trouble. Oh my gosh, that's what kids used to do when they're being called to the principal's office. Ooh, what did you do? But instead they exalt it for John. Like, oh, I must have done something nice, huh? We'll have to see. So anyways, I enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys did too. So anyways, if you enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe, and of course, hit that bell icon. This has been Macron on Madcrownxox. Signing out.